Now, we have been for a long time totally dependent on our plastic money, on our cards. And we're now been told that laws are being passed, which means that the major retailers, major businesses, the big ones, will have to accept cash. If we rock up with cash, they have to accept it. They can't say, no, we only take cards. It applies to the big supermarkets, the service stations. They'll have to accept cash under this massive money change, which comes in January of next year. The smaller companies, those which have got a smaller turnover, they can still say, no, we don't take cash, it's cards only. Return to cash, you fond of cash?
Absolutely. I'm quite old school. Cash is king in my book. That's why my dad brought me up. You pay cash if you can, love, and don't put it on the credit card. And I think it's also good because if you don't have stable banking access, you still want to be able to get some cash and go to the servo and get some fuel or go and get some groceries. So I think I'm all for it.
Yep,
I think it's great to actually have more cash back in the system, but protecting small businesses, of course, who still want to use the EFTPOS machine.
And for whom it's yet another burden to handle the money go to the bank and all that sort of thing. You a cash is king man?
Yeah, look, I'm of the generation where, where you'd go to the sausage sizzle or whatever and they would only take cash.
Yeah.
And so you had to have one just in case you needed a snag. And now, of course, even that is changing. And even though, because every phone's got like a tap and go app. And so now suddenly cash is, ironically enough, no longer almost legal tender because some places don't have to actually accept it.
Oh, I've seen buskers now who've got the little thing. So
I saw a beggar, a homeless person who actually had a sort of tap and go thing. And I actually thought, you know what?
Wow.
That's very entrepreneurial.
That is.
This guy should go into business.
Can I remind you that Rowan Dean, the host of Outsiders and The World According to Rowan Dean, and my editor at The Spectator Australia, very strongly believes in cash. He says if everything is on cards and everything is in computers, it gives them too much power over us.
And how do you budget as well? I mean, for teaching young kids how to budget, you want them to actually see some dollars.
Even with bringing cash back, though, basically, they would still know absolutely everything about you except who your cleaners are and how much you give to buskers.
Yes. Now, there is a suggestion that because we are in an economic crisis and things are getting tighter and it's more difficult, a lot of restaurants and hospitality places are going to make tipping part of the system. They're going to build it in. They do it at the French restaurant that my wife and I go to. Up on the little window on the electronic machine, it says...
Not that he's admitting to.
Perhaps 15%, and you just tap that with your finger and you've suddenly paid a tip. Are you a tipping person?
I am a tipping person. In fact, I get told off at restaurants for leaving too much tips.
Oh, what a humble brag. I'm terrible. I'm terrible. Oh,
so what I try and do
I'd say
is
my biggest problem is that I'm probably too generous.
Tip too much. Just all the lovely restaurants I go to. Thanks for looking after me. But look, I see this as a bit of a collision between cost of living and, all the extra costs that small businesses have to weather. So, if the tip goes through, I'm happy to let it slide,
Something
really.
tells me you're not a big tipper, Kel. You don't
No, because in Australia, the people who work in these hospitality things are paid a proper wage. They're paid a real salary. I understand in America they're paid a pittance and they actually earn their money from the tips that they get. But that's not the case here, is it?
So, OK, yeah, look, if you're arguing for higher wages and penalty rates, then I'm all in. I'm all in, thank you. We'll put that on the record. Yeah, I think I still like to tip because I think, usually... Even if you're eating out at a restaurant, chances are the person serving you your food isn't earning as much money as you are. And so I always do it. But I do have, there's a couple of things with this scheme. Firstly, that it's just sort of built in. Because I think a lot of people tip because, like Louise, they're incredibly generous and they just cannot help themselves.
A handful of
you've had good service.
But they want to feel like this is something they're doing out of the goodness of their heart. Because it's not, it's not you doing it if the, if
it's built into the system.
That's right. Basically, if the waiter's standing there going,
And when it's built into the charging system, you think, who gets the money?
That's the other one.
Does it go to the boss?
Does it go to...
That's where the cash comes in.
A lot of people...
A sly 20 to the server. That's probably a bit, or 10, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Maybe not 20.
The other really good thing about tipping is you can decide not to. There are times when the meal wasn't what you wanted or the service wasn't what you wanted, and you can think, right, they have not earned a tip, you don't get it.
Then they'll be sorry.
Really?
They'll be sitting there examining their lives going, oh, God, I should have been nicer to that man who gave me an